right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Stone Sheep 2021. So we just got dropped off by the plane 10 minutes ago, and we're currently searching for a trail, which we may or may not find, but at least we're on a cut line, a seismic line, so we're making decent time. We're hoping to get to our main base camp tonight, so we'll see how she goes.
That's the ridge I was thinking of topping, camping at, right up there. We got some elevation to gain, boys.
Guess butterfly is like 30% deep.
All right, midday update. I left this strip maybe 5 hours ago. Not sure exactly how far we've come. 4 to 5 miles, something like that. I'm gonna be liberal and say 5. Pretty difficult hiking. I wouldn't say the terrain has been super gnarly or the bush has been super gnarly, but just really heavy packs and no real trails. So trying to figure out everywhere, you know, there's no just autopilot. You got to kind of think about every single thing that we do. We're basically on the last push now. You can get somewhat of an idea. That's the kind of slope we're talking about. And the fucking camera always makes it look way mellower than it actually is. But the game plan is there's a bench up above, maybe another hour, get up there, set up camp, try and get an evening hunt. We'll do another update when we get up there.
I love sheep hunting.
All right, so after an incredibly ridiculous hike up this mountain, we've made it to our camp spot for the night. So I'll give you an overview first, and then we'll check out each of the individual setups. So this is where we're at. We started way over there this morning. Here's my setup. I got the Hillebergniac, and then the boys are jumping in here. Let's have a look inside theirs. We'll have a look inside theirs first. Oh yeah. Nice little roomy setup for 2 dudes. And then we'll go check out mine. So yeah, the game plan is tonight is to finish setting up and then go for a walk up this hill and see if we can glass. There's one kind of section of glassable country over here. It's not the big piece that we originally wanted to get to, but we just bit off a little bit more than we can chew, as usually tends to be the case. So sometimes sheep hunting is a little 2 steps forward, 1 step back, and that's what's going on here. We hiked all of our shit kind of halfway up this mountain, camped out, came out the rest of it this morning, basically cliffed out, can't get up any further. Very minimal terrain to glass from here, and a lot of goats and 0 sheep so far. So we're gonna regroup, head back down to camp, pack everything up, go all the way back down to the valley and loop around and try and get in and on the other side of this range from another way. Kind of shitty, but it is what it is. A lot of these things can look good on paper, and it's not till you actually put boots on the ground that you can say for certain which area is traversable and which area isn't. So, learning experience, cross some shit off the map, go try somewhere else. All right, little mid-trek update. This is certifiably shit. So essentially, we had to completely back out of the one location where we were at, and we're moving to another location. But there's no trails back in here, so we're just bushwhacking, and it's a grind, to say the least. And it's taking us a lot longer than we thought it would. But there's nothing else we can do. So we'll put one foot in front of the other, make the best of it. Hopefully get to camp in about another hour.
Let's take 5 minutes to collect my thoughts.
All right, we made it. That was, well, easily the worst hike of this hunt, for sure. But being that this is only day 2, that's not really that big of a deal. Really, the icing on the cake was, we thought we were getting to a flat spot, and instead we got to a hellacious canyon, and we had to go down one side to fill up with water, and then Tristan thought that we should fill up with all of tonight's water and all of tomorrow's water before doing the hellacious walk up the other side of the canyon. So we both put on, what do you got there, Spence? How much water?
6 liters.
So he's got 6 liters. I've got 6 liters.
I got 8.
He's got 8. So some quick math at 2.5 pounds per liter is somewhere in the neighborhood of an additional 15 to 20 pounds that we just put on our packs before hiking up that hill. However, I must admit, now that the pack is on the ground, I'm a fan of Tristan's plan. So, game plan, set up camp here for the night, break it down in the morning, and we're going all the way up there tomorrow. And the goal is to get us in this saddle where we could potentially camp for the next 5 days and glass a ton of terrain. Our plans haven't really worked out so far, but we're hoping this next one does.
Thank you.
How's the packs, boys?
Oh, just zesty.
All right, it's midday, day 3, and we have finally made it into the alpine. Insane hike to get in here, but everywhere we go seems to be insane hikes, so par for the course. Well worth it. Outstanding vistas once we got up in here. There's still some challenges that need to be solved. Not quite sure where we're going to camp, not quite sure where we're going to find water, but both of those things are relatively simple to find now that we're in here. So first things first, we dropped all our gear and we're just going to glass for the next 4 or 5 hours. And then as long as we kind of pull up by 6 o'clock, that'll give us enough time to make a final decision around camp and where we're going to find water. But yeah, couldn't be happier. All right, quick update. It is possible I just had the best meal of my life. And it was the biscuits and gravy from Peak Refuel. And I don't know if it's a function of the hike or the altitude or what, but I don't know, man. I'm really hard pressed to think of a meal that has tasted better than that in my entire 42 years on this planet. Holy shit, that was good. Gosh. All right, back to the glass. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are officially on the board. Afternoon of day 3. I've spotted you. So we still have a ways to go in finding the right sheep, but we're sitting here with the boys, Tristan and Spence. And yeah, we picked a good spot and there's a sheep and it looks like she just came out of a kind of dense group of poplar and it's been crazy windy this afternoon. So the kind of pet theory right now is that there's likely some other sheep hiding out in there. And hopefully as this wind starts to die down and the sun starts to go down, they'll come out as well. So we'll cross our fingers and hope for the best. All right, so we're gonna end up camping up top. To say it's a little bit windy would be a mild understatement. It should die down overnight, but we're not sure. But I wanna give you an idea of the setup, where we got the tents at and what's going on. So here's mine. We got the boys setting up over here. So listen, in a perfect situation, both these tents would be angled into the wind. No, we don't have that right now, but we're limited as to the fact of where there's flat spots. We're literally at the top of Peak right now, and these are the only options we got. So we did the best with what we had. It could be a blustery evening, but like I say, I feel pretty confident once the sun goes down, this should die down a bit. All right, it's day 4, and we are finally legitimately in the alpine. We had to wake up this morning and crest maybe 500 to 700 feet vertical elevation, and now we're running basically a spine ridge that's quite long, 6 kilometers long. We've got a campsite picked out maybe 1.5 kilometers down the way, but we're essentially just going to glass our way down this ridge. The terrain is phenomenal. The drawback is everywhere we look is covered with goats. I think we've counted somewhere in the neighborhood of 35 to 40 goats so far. which doesn't bode well because even though they're not directly competitive, from my understanding, goats are more aggressive than sheep and they will chase them out of areas. Now, we did see those sheep last night, so it's not unreasonable to assume that there are more sheep here. It would just be nice to not see so many goats. So that's the day. Glass for a bit, move a few hundred yards down the ridge, glass a bit more, do that all the way to camp. All right, let's tear it up. So the good news is I'm finding sheep. The bad news is they're all lambs and ewes. I think I've counted maybe a dozen sheep so far, spread over 2 like kind of different parkland areas. All of them are reachable. And again, from what I understand, and I could be wrong, because we're so far before the rut, the odds of rams being anywhere near lambs and ewes are super low. So that essentially if you identify a group and it's got lambs and ewes, you might as well just move on. Whereas historically, coming from elk and deer hunting, because I tend to hunt those animals closer to the rut, if you find females of the species, you normally keep your glass right on them because there will be a male bedded somewhere close by. But I think it's a little bit early for that strategy. So I'm kind of trying to cross those areas off the map and move on to different locations. All right, so we're kind of mid-afternoon, day 4, and it seems like every time we think we catch a break, the hunt decides to smack us in the face and give our egos a bit of a right sizing. The constant struggle so far has been in this hunt. Well, there's been 2. There's been access to huntable terrain, and there's been access to water. And like every time we turn around, we're having problems with one or we're having problems with the other. So the issue is we got to the saddle where we wanted to get, but we're presented with a difficulty. Most of the terrain that we can glass from here is not accessible. Like even if we would see a ram, we can't get over there to shoot it. And we got to dive down into the valley to get water every day if we stay here, which is a doable proposition, but it's problematic because we still aren't in a situation where we could actually kill a ram even if we could see it. So yet again, tomorrow morning, we're gonna pack up camp, do another few miles, try and find another location. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it's difficult at this point. It's psychologically challenging. Like it's starting to piss me off because every time we turn around a corner, it's just another problem, another problem, another problem. But then I also got to step back and remind myself, who cares? I'm hunting. Plane doesn't come till Thursday. I'm in the mountains. We're not gonna die. So stop stressing out so much and just enjoy myself. So that's kind of the frame of mind that I'm trying to use this afternoon to put myself in. And then you never know. It just takes one opportunity. We could turn a corner tomorrow morning. There's a big ass ram just wanting to eat a bullet. And maybe that'll happen and maybe it won't. But I think the important thing is to stay on top of things mentally and just accept the challenges that they come and hope for the best. morning of day 5. Just did probably one of the hardest hikes we've done. Yeah, anyways, made it to the top, sat down, and as usual, finding sheep is not the problem. Finding the right sex of sheep is a problem. Immediately, Tristan threw up the binos, found an entire herd of ewes and lambs, and there's one lone sheep way up above them that may be a ram, but we can't really get a good enough look from all the way over here. So yeah, just gonna take a break, sit in glass, and then keep making our way to what we hope is our final camping location for tonight. All right, it's the evening of day 5, and we just tried our best. Walked all the way down a creek with the boys. We were unable to turn up any water. So it's a little bit stressful at the moment because the entire valley seems to be dry. So I don't know, we got another maybe kilometer and a half to where we're hoping to camp for the night. Hopefully cross a little meadow spring or something, but it's not looking good. All right, so we made it to where we're gonna camp for a little while. We got some good news and we got some bad news. The good news is we did turn up some more mature rams.
Another one.
We didn't, oh, there goes Spence. He just found another one. We didn't bring the spotter because we were just coming on a water mission, but they're definitely bigger than anything we've seen thus far. Bad news is there's no water anywhere remotely close. So we made a game plan for tomorrow, and we're going to do a water mission, about 10 kilometers round trip and 2,400 feet elevation, like 1,200 feet loss, 1,200 feet gain. So it'll be a bit of a grinder, but we should be able to carry enough with all of the vessels we got for at least 3 or 4 days, get us pretty close to the end of the trip anyways. So that's the game plan. End of day 5, set up camp, find some rams, make a plan for water. All right, it's the morning of day 6. And this has been an incredibly challenging hunt, to say the least. I mean, they always are. I don't even know why I bother saying that half the time. But I feel like this morning, it clicked. Like, we're camped right at the top. Water's still an issue, but it's solvable. I literally woke up out of the tent, walked 10 meters up a little mound beside where I'm camping, broke out the spotting scope, and just started picking apart terrain. It's quiet. It's gonna be a nice day. I don't know if any rams are gonna show up, but I also don't think there's anywhere else I'd rather be on earth right now. So yes, it was a pain in the ass, but 100% worth it. This is such a crazy place. All right, let's get to it. All right, so we've had a bit of a development. The boys have just packed up. So Tristan came down with a pretty severe sinus infection. And looking at all the options, it was really the best bet was to fly out early. So we were able to get in touch with our pilot, and he was kind of doing some other stuff in the area tomorrow anyways. So it was a doable fix. So basically, Spencer and Tristan have packed up camp completely. This is where they were last night. They're gonna walk down to the strip, get there tonight. Tristan flies out tomorrow morning. Spencer hikes back in. He's gonna grab water on the way up. I have 1.5 liters to last me the next 2 days. So as long as I'm super sparing, that should be fine. Tristan took one for the team, flying out solo, so good on him. It's heartbreaking, man. You put a lot of time, energy, and money into getting back here, and then to have something out of your control shut you down like that, I feel for the guy. That's brutal. So I'm gonna have some breakfast, get back to glassing, and see what I can do. Okay, so I already mentioned that today was day 6, and I need to share that there is something very, very special about day 6 on a 12-day hunt. This is what it is. Fresh socks and underwear day. For anyone that has been on a long backcountry hunt, there are 2 methods when you go into the backcountry. One is the daily rotation. You bring 2 pairs of socks and you flip them every single day, kind of trying to breathe life into the sock on the day off, leave it hanging on some trees, maybe wash it out in a creek, do whatever you got to do, same as the underwear. The other method is to just push through. Just use those manky socks and underwear as long as humanly possible, because then when you get to day 6 and you break out these bad boys, it's like a slice of heaven. Like that, just fresh, clean, doesn't stink. It's nice and puffy. So yeah, today's day 6, fresh socks and underwear day. I've been so thirsty for so long, like days. And last night we found this little patch of blueberries. I was like, just the tart liquid was like one of the best things I've ever had in my life. I'm doing a bit of a recce scout out to this new area where I've never been. I'm just stopping every couple minutes, and they're just these little blueberries. But if you take your time, 5 or 6 minutes to get like a nice big handful and pop the whole thing in there at once. Oh my God. So good. All right, well, that just about wraps up another day. Took a walk a couple kilometers from camp, just kind of recce'd this new ridge, ate some blueberries, saw a few cow elk, but no sheep today. Just got to keep putting the time in and sitting behind the glass, and hopefully something will pop up. The area where I'm in is really kind of a collection of a few small mountains, and either there's sheep on those mountains and they will eventually kind of work their way around to where I can see them potentially make a play, or there is no sheep on those mountains and I'm too far from any other mountains to walk to them. So the only play I got is kind of sit it out. And within this region, I got like a few kilometers each day in kind of slightly different directions I can go to get different looks. But that's about it. Take little walks, glass the hills, hope for the best. Time to head back to camp and eat some dinner. All right, it's morning day 7, and I was going to say things couldn't have started off any better, but I guess shooting a ram would have been better. But it was still a pretty decent morning. Woke up, went to my little glassing knoll just outside of my tent, and immediately picked up a group of bachelor rams, just young guys, a couple years old. But still interesting because they're not like the lambs and ewes that we've been seeing. So it's at least a step in the right direction. And the really exciting part is they were like 400 yards from camp. Like if it had been a shooter ram, it would have been game over. And then about 10 minutes later, I spotted a good looking bull elk over on a far ridge, a bit too far to make a play, and it's only the 14th, so I still got to wait one more day. So I was kind of happy that it was all the way over there, because maybe he's going to make his way in this direction, and I really don't want to be within shooting distance of an elk a day before the season opens. Because the rut is nowhere near yet, I won't be able to, it's highly unlikely I would be able to call them in. So I'm probably only going to get one chance if they happen to be passing through the area. But overall, great start to the day. Going to have some breakfast, cup of coffee, chill out for a bit, and then get back to glassing. Bro, you're a savage, man.
Oh, I am happy to see you.
24 miles in 2 days. Bro.
We made it.
Madness. Good to see you, buddy.
Oh,
Good
you
to
too,
see
man.
ya. Holy shit. Let's get to your camp. Your spot's right here. Crazy. Home sweet home.
That was a long couple days.
Tell me, how was it? Drop your shit, man.
Long.
Longer than we thought.
Yeah. You know, it wasn't bad until I picked the water though. Like my feet were sore, but it wasn't like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
Until
Am I actually going to be able to do this?
yeah. But oh. Oh.
Okay, so it's day 7. Spence has been back in camp. I don't know if you can tell by the noise or not, but it's raining pretty decent outside. We got a really good start to the day. We were up pretty early, glassed a ton. Unfortunately, the thing that I thought was a band of young rams yesterday, I'm fairly certain now, was just some ewes and maybe a couple older ewes with more developed horns and some lambs, because in the exact same location today, we saw 5 sheep, 3 clearly ewes, 2 clearly lambs. So I'm pretty sure that's just the same group of sheep I saw yesterday. Not really much other action today. Saw 1 goat, and then just before the rain came over on the other side, I seen another couple lambs and ewes. I mean, I'm definitely an inexperienced sheep hunter. There's nowhere else we can really go, but I'm not sure what to do with the fact that we keep seeing all these lambs and ewes. I want to think it's good because it means there's sheep on this range, but it could also mean because we haven't seen any rams that they've just been taken out of here in the last couple of years, and none of the younger rams are old enough yet to kind of take on that more mature role, and nothing is legal in here. So just keep glassing, and if the rain breaks this afternoon, maybe go for a bit of a recce walk and see if we can find a little bit of ground we haven't put glass on yet. But other than that, just going to take advantage of the cool weather and the rain to grab a quick nap and then see what the game plan is this afternoon. All right, so the rain passed. And if you remember, I've been telling you like water is totally non-existent here. So there's one benefit of the rain. We set up my spare tarp in order to catch the rain, and it looks like we got like a fair amount. There's at least a couple liters in there. So it would actually be nice if it rains some more. But looking out at the sky, I don't think that's likely. I think we got everything and it's past now. All right, so just did complex hunt mathematics to find out we're actually on day 8. I thought we were on day 7. We were having to like add up camp spots and when we got dropped off. Anyways, I didn't film shit today. All we've done is sit and glass for hours upon hours or hide from the rain in our tents for like maybe 2 hours. And that's really all that's happened today. So I don't have anything to report. We're gonna go for a bit of a recce walk tomorrow just to break up the monotony a bit. Not too far away, and we'll still do a big morning glassing session here because the morning is by far the most active part of the day. So that's the plan. All right, so me and Spencer are A, sick and tired of sitting at camp, and B, really want to see what is around the corner up here. So it's been kind of like drizzling rain all morning. We geared up, and basically we're gonna pick our way over there slowly and basically drop some elevation, do a little kicker, get over a saddle, and we'll get into a new valley that we haven't seen at all before. And we've seen some action there on and off for the last 3 days. So we're hoping that when we pop in there, we'll be able to glass something up. So we'll see how she goes. We seem to be getting washed over in like these waves of rain that instantly dissipate as soon as they pass this ridge. And it's like sunny over there. Look, sunny. And it's shitty over there. Shitty. Somehow the wind is blowing in this direction, which you would logically conclude would bring more of the nice stuff to us. But then it swirls around that mountain and the shitty stuff hooks back in and dumps rain on top of us. So yeah, that's the kind of day it is. All right, we came, we saw, we got conquered. Yeah, weather beat the shit out of us a little bit. We stuck it out for 5 or 6 hours, but just nothing showed up. So Maybe pop back here later in the week, maybe not. We're gonna head back to camp so that we have enough time to do an evening glass in case something moved in while we were over here. So, time for another hike. So it was pretty wet yesterday, and it got pretty cold last night. And here's how you can tell it got cold last night. Yeah, those are pants. Off from camp maybe half an hour ago. We're doing another recce walk, and this is into new territory we haven't seen yet. Dual purpose. We gotta go get water. We need about 2 days water, give or take. And there's a high likelihood there's some at the end of this ridge. The only question is how far we're gonna have to drop down in order to get the water. Also, it looks a little more elky, caribou on this end of the ridge, so we'll probably still hunt our way down the actual ridge line, glass kind of over the edge for sheep, and then keep an eye out for any elk sign or caribou sign. See what happens. All right, Spencer's gonna give us a little update on how the day is going.
So it's about, what we got here, 4:30. Hiked about 5K to the one direction we haven't been yet. We saw some ewes and lambs on the way, no rams. A little bit of elk sign on the way down here. Jay did some calling, no luck. So we also came down here to find water, but once again, no water. So not a surprise there. So we're gonna head back to camp, maybe see something on the way back, enjoy the scenery, and yeah, just out for a stroll now at this point.
All right, you heard it here, folks. So we have, what do we say, 3.5 liters?
3.5 liters.
We got 3.5 liters to make us the next 2 days between two dudes. So tighten the belt. All right, it's the end of day 11, and I didn't film shit. 2 reasons. One, I'm sure you guys are getting sick and tired of watching time-lapse footage of us glassing, and that's all that's really going on. And 2, when I get this close to the end of the hunt, and I still haven't been able to seal the deal, it's hard to get motivated to film because you don't feel like saying anything particularly interesting. You don't feel like turning the camera on. You just feel like doing anything you can possibly do to increase the likelihood of success. So all we did today was glass our eyeballs off. Yeah, I kind of feel like my eyeballs want to bleed. And we didn't see shit, man. Didn't see shit. A couple of goats. And that's it. This really kind of freak, weather front blew in a couple days ago, and it goes from like freezing rain to sun to freezing rain to wind to sun to freezing rain. And I feel like it's just got everything shut down. Like we're seeing way less than we were just a couple days ago. So one more full hunt day to go tomorrow, and then we still kind of have the morning of day 13. So just keep at her. Any of y'all ever see The Never Ending Story? There's this part about 3/4 of the way through where Trey's got to go through the oracle, and if he's not true of heart, he gets laser beamed to death. And I feel like that's exactly where I'm at right now with this crazy canyon gap. All right, so if you've watched any of my films, you know that it is impossible for me to resist waxing philosophic at the end. And I think maybe my old man was on with me in one that I did in 2017. This is the first time I've ever actually done one of these segments with somebody else here, and I just want to set a little context. So it's late afternoon on day 13. We've had our ass kicked by weather, mountains, plane delays, lack of sheep, hunting partners coming down with weird infections. It's been insane. And I'm always trying to think of like, okay, like what's the one thing on this hunt that like sets it apart? Or what did I learn from this hunt that, you know, is going to stick with me? And I'm going to get to Spencer here in a second. So don't worry, I'm not just going to blab on. But that's exactly the thing. That was the difference for me on this one, was having Spencer here. Because I've always been, I like to be by myself because I get to do what I want, when I want. I never have to compromise, and I don't have to worry about other people's feelings or if they're going to keep up or if they're going to want to go as hard as I do. And I gotta say, I've been doing this for a while now, and this is the first time that I've been able to go out. I never had to worry if Spencer was gonna be able to keep up. In fact, there was days when it was the other way around. It was his motivation that kept me going. And like those long glassing days up there, like I'm gonna be honest, I think I would have spent more time in the tent if I was here by myself. And I can say like unequivocally that this was a better hunt for me because I had somebody here with me. And I haven't had that before, so I think that was a big learning opportunity for me. I think it's hard doing things solo, but I think it's also easy because you don't have to look for somebody that is going to match up with you or be able to, you know, it's just the same type of personality with you. And I do think in a way I've kind of taken the easy way out in that regard. Anyways, I just wanted to like that. So if you're somebody who does things all by themselves all the time and you've been frustrated by people in the past, I think it's worth it to keep extending the energy because there's definite benefits to be had. So that's what I'm taking away on this one. And I want to kind of tee you up because I never really put this in proper context. But Spencer had to walk 25 miles round trip in 2 days to get Tristan back to the strip and back. Now, we just did that walk yesterday, and I gotta say, there is no way. It was hell. That was one of the worst hikes I've ever done. Like, it had everything, man. It had inclines, it had brush, it hailed on us. Like, it rained probably for 6 of the 9 hours we were walking.
Quite a while, yeah.
It was brutal. So this savage does that, takes Tristan to the strip, wakes up the next morning and does it back uphill to get back to where I was, proceeds to hunt another 5 days, turns around and does the walk a third time. So and I don't want to put words in your mouth. And if there's something else that hit you heavier than that, but share what you were telling me about, like kind of what that experience gave you.
So for me, being a newer hunter and stuff, then I have spent time in the woods alone before, but not in a place like this as wild as this. And you know, especially with grizzlies, I haven't really been around grizzlies very much, so it definitely gave me confidence to be in the bush by myself, and you know, and seeing the bear shit and stuff, fresh sign and whatnot. It's you know, 8-9 hours is a long time to get over it, so I think that whole experience for me gave me a lot more confidence in the bush to be just being alone, and just the whole experience too. So you know, it's unfortunate it happened, but at the same time, you know, I think I got a valuable lesson out of it. So I'm pretty happy about that. Yeah,
that's badass. I also think it's interesting that what I'm taking away is the benefits of having somebody else around, and what you're taking away is kind of the ability you have to do things by yourself. And I think that's kind of interesting.
Yeah,
we got
that's
like
kind of funny. Yeah,
two opposite things from a hunt. The other thing I want to say real quick, and then I'll just wrap it up, because I'm just so glad the pilot is on his way. Yeah. I'm gonna get to home to see my wife, my daughter, the rest of it. You know, I've gone on and on about how a hunt without a kill is a failure. And I stand behind that. That is a failure. But I'm not leaving this hunt with any negative emotions.
No.
Like, I think we did every single thing we possibly... Now listen, and I also want to say, like, we are not advanced sheep hunters. This was both of our first sheep hunt.
Well, technically my second, but
right.
First real one, I'd say.
First real backcountry long-term sheep hunt.
In there, yeah.
Yeah. And so I'm sure there were mistakes made, but I can say without a doubt, we did everything within our power.
I think from like an effort level, yeah,
yep.
we were glassing for
every
hours.
hour that could be glassed, every mile that could be walked,
any ridge that could be walked, we walked it. Anywhere we saw something, you know, we did everything we could. So,
and we turned up animals. Like, no word of a lie, we must have saw 50, 60 ewes and lambs. We saw one band of potentially immature rams very quickly one evening. We probably saw 50 goats.
Yeah, there's quite a few goats.
And it's hard to tell after a while if they're like different ones or if they're just the same ones popping back up. We saw elk, just not on the right days. Spence saw one literally about 20 yards from where we're sitting right now, 2 days before the elk
one day
opener. The day before the elk opener.
Yeah.
Brutal. I saw a bull up on the hill 2 days before. So I mean, like, yeah, and whatever. We're gonna do a podcast after this where we'll get into like lesson learns, because I think there's a shitload of...
Kind of gotta digest it for a bit first, I think.
Yeah, and there's a lot of like things we can do better moving into the future that I think we're gonna take away from this, but...
It was a good loss.
Yeah.
It was a good loss.
Yeah, I'll take the L and walk away with a smile on my face.
No, totally, for sure.
All right, that's all we got, man. Thanks.